Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Guess what today's video is about? It is a plea. Please don't ever burn your umbrellas. What am I talking about? Let's talk about it. So I've been saying this whole thing of don't burn your umbrellas. I've been saying it to myself for a long time. I've also been saying it to my clients for a long time. And then I said it to my team recently and they were like, huh? I was like, okay, well, I thought it was a handy metaphor. I had never done a video, basically. I think it's a handy metaphor to be reminded of what happens in narcissistic relationships. And more importantly, to never let hope get the best of you. And before I talk about the rest of what it means, if you're a therapist, a life coach, a therapist in training, I'm launching a program just for you in January of 2024, of next year, that will be focusing on how to support clients healing from narcissistic relationships. Please see the link in the video description. So let's go back to this idea of this metaphor. Don't burn your umbrellas. Let me tell you where the metaphor came from. I live in Southern California where it rarely rains. So when it does, I always have to basically do an excavation for an umbrella or buy a new umbrella. I never have it in the car or some other handy place. I just never use it enough. But when the rain comes barreling in, I always roll my eyes and say, ugh, the rain is ultimately always going to come. You can't lose the umbrella. That's where the metaphor originated for me. So what does this have to do with narcissistic relationships? The challenge is, with all narcissistic relationships, is that things are not all bad all the time. You know this. This is what's made it so complicated for you. Sometimes they're actually really good, and sometimes things could actually feel really nice. Narcissistic people are charming and charismatic. And when that charm and charisma find their way to you, especially on one of their good days, it feels really good. If this is a partner or even a friend, and there was that time of love bombing, well, you might look back at that and be grateful when little bits of that waft in again. The problem with the sometimes good days you get is that if there's enough of them, you might relax for a minute. If there's a succession of multiple good days, maybe even good weeks, and heaven help you, good months, then guess what happens? The hope takes over and you believe. You'll start thinking, oh, maybe I had it wrong. Screw you, Dr. Ramani. You don't know what you're talking about. Maybe they're not a narcissistic person. Oh, maybe they were just having a moment. Maybe it was work. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe my standards are too high. And you start loosening up. No more silly eggshells, and you lean in a little. You may talk about something you need, or maybe you'll express an opinion, or you might even give them a critique or give them some real feedback. And then, bam, all of the antagonistic stuff happens again. They yell at you and go off at you for criticizing them. And then they start systematically laying out all of your shortcomings. They shame the need you express. They gaslight you. And you're left wondering, yikes, shoot, damn, here we are again. So where do the umbrellas come in? A narcissistic relationship is basically a pretty chronic storm that has some sunny days thrown in. And those sunny days can leave you to believe that maybe the climate has changed. And sadly, this is the one place that climate change isn't happening. Weather may change, but climate is relatively stable. And what that means is that that succession of sunny days doesn't mean that the storms are over. So, don't burn your umbrellas, because you're going to need them to protect you. You're still going to need them on the sunny days, the days you think you're not going to need them. The umbrellas are all that stuff. Don't go deep. The disengagement. Don't get into the mud with them. It's all the workarounds that represent most days in the narcissistic relationship. You're going to need the umbrella. Don't let the sunny day trick you. Now, you can only survive a narcissistic relationship if you maintain realistic expectations that there will be more days around the corner, that if you give them any feedback that they don't want to hear, that they will attack you, that their reality is the only one allowed in the relationship. There are going to be times in the relationship when your reality conveniently aligns with theirs. It's just a coincidence, right? And then you may think, oh, things have kind of changed. When your perspectives are aligned, it's just a bit of luck. It's going well because your interests happen to be aligned. And so there's no need for them to gaslight you because you're already in line. So they don't need to dominate you to get you there. You don't think you were in line. You think you just agreed. That's luck. There are times when the narcissistic person in your life has more supply. Maybe they're having a good week at work. Maybe somebody flirted with them at the coffee shop. Maybe they got a financial windfall. But for whatever reason, they have some new and good supply. The more well supplied a narcissistic person is, the better their mood. And so that may lead to you having a spate of sunny days. Whatever it is, they will thrive under certain circumstances, and then the sun will come out. But it will not stay out. And this is why you can't get rid of those damn umbrellas, because it was sunny for a minute. This rapid shift in the weather is what makes narcissistic relationships so stressful. You never know what will set them off. Forget walking on eggshells. After a while, these relationships feel like tiptoeing through tripwires. The loss of hope is one of the greatest griefs of the narcissistic relationship. And those sunny days can really froth up the hope. The hope that you were wrong. The hope that it's getting better. The hope that they changed. And the sunny days on and the sunny days off play on that hope. Radical acceptance means letting go of that hope for change, figuring out the rhythms of the relationship, and making your decisions accordingly. The sunny days are rough because people will say, now that I know how it works, the realistic expectations, I live in fear of when the other shoe is going to drop. I have worked with so many survivors of narcissistic family systems who, when growing up, said, having a narcissistic parent is probably a lot like having a parent who's an alcoholic. Maybe when the parent's sober, it works a little bit, but you never know when they're going to come in raging drunk. Though kids do start to figure out pretty quickly their parents' drinking patterns. Now, for example, knowing that they might get an hour of peace before the parent starts getting intoxicated after coming home from work, or knowing that the Saturday nights that they go out, that they're going to come home drunk. It remains chaotic, painful, and unpredictable. With narcissistic parents, there might even be less predictability because you don't know what kind of day, for example, they had at work, or that your one misplaced toy on the floor when you were a kid set off their obsessive need for order because their boss didn't praise them, or that your one complaint about your dinner will set them off. You just don't know when the narcissistic parent will be set off. And so kids who grow up like this would say that even the so-called sunny moments weren't relaxing because you knew it was inevitable it would go wrong. And even though you might look back and say, my little kid self truly hoped that this time would be different, you knew in your gut it was going to go to hell. So childhood became not only a chronic sense of tension, but an endless series of disappointments and fear. In adulthood, it can be a little different, but it still hurts to want your marriage to be good and want a decent moment to last and still watch it fall apart every time. So over time, you say less. You're more careful, trying to squeeze every drop of sunshine out of the good moments. Can you use the sunshine to your advantage? Maybe a little. You may use those sunshiny times as a time to exhale, to get some things done that you need to get done, and that may not be possible when the narcissistic person is tantruming and raging. But don't overreach. Some people take the sunny days and think, okay, let's tackle some of the tough stuff. Again, the minute you start inconveniencing them or stressing them or asking anything of them, there will be hell to pay. Some folks will be careful on the sunny days to For example, make a vacation go well or a holiday dinner go well. But remember, you aren't the only person in the room with the narcissistic person. And as much of a tiptoe through the shards of glass you are doing in this relationship, there is likely to be someone else in your midst who doesn't get it. And that person may be the one who sets them off. And then the sunny day is over. Nobody can live like this. It is not sustainable in the long term to live a life where you never say anything, though some of us have gotten really close. And the sunny days should not be a call to try to appease them to keep the charade alive. At best, on those sunny days, take a breath, maybe grab a nap that they're going to end up shaming you about later. Be present with the laughter. But these sunny days are never really sunny because there are always dark clouds on the horizon. The grief that accompanies your physical awareness that the sunny days, the good days in a narcissistic relationship are always temporary. The trauma bond may sort of mess you up a little bit and show you otherwise. You'll convince yourself, no, it's better, and you'll justify. But you will always need that umbrella. So you make sure you keep it close at hand. Because I promise you, and there's not many guarantees in life, but I can all but guarantee you, the narcissistic person in your life is going to throw yet another tantrum, no matter how nice they're being to you today. Thanks again.